He knows exactly what it's like to lose someone he loves.
Be very careful with the next thing you say.
Isn't that right, Batman? Now, how many dead eyes can you look into before you die inside yourself?
I've been dead inside a long time.
You don't want to kill me. I'm your best friend. You need me to help you undo this world you created by letting her die. So as usual, I'll be the bigger man. A truce, Bruce. But all you have to do is tear it in half, and I'm happy to discuss with you in any way you like why you sent a boy wonder to do a man's job.
What's going on, Cam?
Hey, Evan.
How you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. I've been doing a lot of my stretches, and I'm feeling limber and ready to go.
It's good to feel limber before the podcast.
Yeah, what I like to do is I like to do some deep knee bends, which helps relieve any gas that I've got built up. The only thing more embarrassing than stuttering over my words and saying is letting just a hot toot rip just right on
right into the microphone.
I would be mortified if I just accidentally let a hot toot go right while I was right while we were recording.
Yeah, during a
talk
nice
about
hearty
egg on
laugh.
your face.
Yeah. All right. Well, hello, folks, and after a little fart talk here to begin the episode, we want to welcome you to what we're pretty sure is episode 8.
Yeah.
Of Left Unread.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
For whatever reason, the two of us mess up almost every single time when we write out our line notes. But this one is called The Snyder Cut in the DCEU.
Yes. And
so
you might be thinking to yourself, that's not 2,000 years old. Whatever.
Yeah, we decided to take a little break from our buddy Tiberius to go through some absolutely dog shit movies.
Yeah, we're just this is the one for us. You know, they say do 7 for them, do 1 for you. So
so we watched about 7 dog shit movies for us.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Altogether, we did.
Not quite. I mean, so I know that I was group texting with some of my friends, and we were really excited for the Snyder Cut of the Justice League because
I don't
we were
know
pretty
why.
certain because it was just going to be like total like hot dog shit. And,
were you excited because it was going to be bad, or did you think it was going to maybe be good?
Oh no! I watched Suicide Squad before this, which was one of the most offensive movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
like
offensively bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, with that one, I was honestly, almost beside myself with what I was putting myself through.
Yeah, so at your request, I got home from work last night at like 10 o'clock, and I watched the entirety of Suicide Squad before
and then you
bed.
texted me, like, right when I woke up, too.
Dude,
I woke up, and you were texting me, like, that movie was fucking awful.
It was so bad, and I had weird dreams afterwards, and like it really screws with you. It's not. Sorry, I just got a notification that Big Daddy Kane is live on Instagram, so
nice.
I might actually have to just watch that instead of So you keep going. I'm gonna go watch Big Daddy Kane. No, but so we that movie in particular was really bad, and I also watched the Snyder cut. So I feel prepared. And then I watched like most of Aquaman, which was like okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Yeah.
And then Kristen and I, my girlfriend, have started watching. We're gonna try to watch every Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. So we watched Iron Man 1 the other day, which I know is a different universe, but I'm like this. That is more superhero movie than I've watched.
Yeah.
I don't like superhero movies, which is fucking kind of weird. But I usually think they're stupid.
Yeah. So before we get too into it, we'll save our thoughts when we get to them. Cam, I believe we have a couple of sponsors for today's episode.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. So I was contacted. We actually have 2 new sponsors today, which is great. I mean, it's blessed, right? # blessed.
Yeah, # blessed.
And funnily enough, they're kind of both relevant to. It's sort of like Law and Order. They're both sort of ripped from the headlines. So, all right. So first off, there's a new breakfast cereal from the kind people at Admiral's Grist. What did they? So start your day off right with the tastiest cereal on land or sea. It's all new honey bunches of crab meat with almonds. Combine crispy honey-kissed cornflakes, crunchy oat clusters, and savory Old Bay butter-basted lump Chesapeake Bay blue crab, now with the added delight of toasted almonds. All part of a balanced breakfast. Available now wherever cereal and fresh seafood is sold. But hey, don't be shellfish. Make sure you get enough for the whole family. That's right. That's Admiral Grist's honey bunches of crab meat, now with almonds.
Yeah, and folks, I have a bowl of this to start my day every day.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
So we're really excited to pump up that product. But let's hear number 2.
Almost nobody that I know has tried it, which is a real shame.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, and so then next is another fun one. Something that I've been really sad about is all the theme parks that have had to close due to COVID-19. And so luckily one of my favorites has just gotten back up and running. So today's episode is also sponsored by the newly renovated and reopened Azagthoth's Mountains of Madness theme park and day spa. Lose your mind, and maybe your lunch, on Cthulhu's Vortex of Insanity roller coaster. You can splash the heat away while you honor the deep ones at the Harbor of Innsmouth Water Park. And now, lay prostrate before the King in Yellow and surrender to the eternal malign will of the dead city of Carcosa, our brand new state-of-the-art massage parlor and total relaxation facility. For a great time you'll never forget, or at least for as long as your fragile mind lasts, come on down to Azagthoth's Mountains of Madness, exit 13 off of U.S. Route 66. And yeah, big thanks to them. We don't get out that way very often, but it's always fun to go there and get one of those big old octopus corn dogs they serve.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, I can't wait to take the family there.
Yeah,
this summer.
Well, I can't wait to have a family and then take them there.
Yeah. First, I have a few steps before.
So, ladies, if anybody's interested in breeding with Evan for the purposes of starting a family, we are of prime reproductive age. Our sperm are swimming strong and straight.
Yeah.
Evan eats
I'm getting
bison
kind of old.
Evan eats bison meat, which, as we all know, leads to straight, strong sperm.
All right, thanks. All right, so
I'm just proud of my friend. I just am trying to talk you up, dude. I'm proud of your sperm.
You can consider me and my sperm talked up. So as we began before, let's get into a little bit of the background. I have unfortunately seen every single Marvel movie, which is something I did about 3 years ago now. When I was on disability from work for an injury, I thought, well, I'm fucking sitting here for like 10 weeks. I may as well do something. And I watched all of those films, just completely smoothed my brain during them. Just like popped out all the ridges, lost basically all of the information I'd gathered throughout
to clarify, Evan is talking about a period of time when he was on physical disability. He has always been and remains profoundly mentally and emotionally disabled.
Yes.
But he was also physically
disabled. That's from birth,
He was physically disabled as well for a time.
So yeah, I certainly was mentally disabled after that.
Yeah. Oh,
After those
you're
movies.
still sad about that. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I think that's probably the worst. Just random physical injury. Any of my friends, it's certainly worse than anything I've ever had happen. That was crazy.
Yeah, that sucked. So did watching those movies, though. But
Well, here we are.
And here we are, and I'm doing it again with an entirely new series of films.
I know.
Yeah. So anyway, this while the Marvel Cinematic Universe is generally widely beloved, and it does have a few movies in it that I actually enjoy. Like, I think Infinity War is legitimately good. I like Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Waititi. Yeah, that one's great.
I saw
First
Black
two Thor
Panther and Thor Ragnarok, and those were cool. I fell asleep during Infinity War.
Yeah, Infinity War is cool. Endgame I thought was almost unbearable.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, but the two Spider-Man ones are pretty cool too. But a lot of them, like Age of Ultron, was just like I wanted to rip my teeth out while watching it. But regardless, they're generally considered to be very good films, and they have a clear creative force under however you pronounce his name, Kevin Feige or whatever. However, for the DCEU, they've been much more fraught and have gone through like insane production cycles, changing directors, like lots of cooks in the kitchen for a lot of these. Really, they're just films by focus group at certain points.
Yeah, and it really seems pretty clear just from the few that I've seen that there's just a room full of rich folks scrambling to try to compete. They've got an equally impressive IP in the DC expanded universe, which is cool, right? You've got like
and
Superman.
honestly, probably cooler than Marvel. Like, I was never
Yeah.
a big comic book kid. Like, I liked Captain America, but I probably was more into DC. I didn't really read a ton, but like I really like Batman.
Yeah, who doesn't,
You know?
right? Batman's, I think, every kid's favorite superhero. Well, maybe not anymore because Marvel's stepped in, but I mean, growing up, like Superman, Batman, The Flash, Green Lantern,
The
Aquaman,
Soviet version of
Wonder
Superman
Woman.
too.
Oh my God, yeah. So that's one of my favorite comic books. I went through a phase
Yeah.
in college where I was pirating and reading a lot of comic books, and
Yeah.
Superman Red Sun rocks. It's
Yeah,
like-
Red Sun. Yeah.
and so it's fair to note that DC has a range of like wildly successful animated feature films that are like
Yeah.
all awesome, and those are. So I'll mention that again in a little bit, but they've
Okay.
made an animated film of Superman Red Sun that like slaps. It's completely
Yeah.
awesome. Something about the live action movies they just like can't figure out.
Yeah, and actually one of the rich people that's guiding them, which I fucking love, is goddamn Steve Mnuchin.
I know.
Like the Mnuchiniverse, dude. Like,
Yeah, it's insane to me because I had no idea that he was a film producer, and I only sort of knew him, I guess, as well as anyone is aware of who the Secretary of the Treasury is.
Yeah, and if you look it up, dude, he's produced so many fucking movies.
Yeah.
Like, the list is enormous,
Yeah.
and they're, like, almost 100% dog shit.
Yeah. And I remember
And,
hearing about his wife's movie.
Yeah, that one I really want to see.
Yeah.
The ultimate auteur film,
Yeah.
Miyu Madness.
Yeah, that's
But-
a story for another day. We might have to
Yeah.
watch that one.
I know, yeah, I do too. But so the MCU began in 2008 with Iron Man, as you said before, and they actually released 5 films before doing their first team up, which was the Avengers, 2 Iron Man films, and I don't know the 3 other assholes, which included Edward Norton as the Incredible Hulk, who they had to immediately replace. Now, the DCEU was planned initially to launch in 2011 after the massive success of the early MCU films. However, they chose the Ryan Reynolds-led Green Lantern, in which they attempted to not only set up the Green Lantern mythology, but also set up the DC universe from a position of catching up to the timeline the MCU was on. For instance, Green Lantern introduced Amanda Waller, who is a character from Suicide Squad, and they would actually recast her once they rebooted the DCEU after only one film. And I've never seen it, but apparently its tone was all over the place, and a lot of it was influenced by the goofiness of the MCU. You know, the MCU has like a largely very like upbeat tone. It's kind of like the Super Best Friends Club.
Right.
And also, it was already a universe-wide conflict, which kind of made it difficult to grow the scope of the problems that were facing the characters. My cat has something to say about that.
Yeah, well, tell him to shut the fuck up, okay?
Yeah.
This is important.
Yeah. So, owing to the failure of the Green Lantern, it's being the start of the DCEU was scrapped in favor of launching Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, both created or at least directed by infamous director Zack Snyder, who is most notable for his, which I didn't realize until researching this, he was the one who did the remake of George Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, I remember seeing that movie. It was like
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, I mean, I had a zombie phase when I was like 15, where
who didn't?
I was buying as much of those films as I could, so I have that one still.
Yeah, it's
but
not
I
bad.
didn't realize. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's a fine film. It was released. That was released in 2004, and then of course he did the 300 and Watchmen adaptations right after that. That was in 2007 and 2009.
Yeah,
Which
you know what? Both cool films, I think, for what they are.
Yeah.
Who didn't like 300 when that came out? I mean, that was like every high school boy's wet dream.
I know. I was like 16 years old when that came out.
Yeah, it was sweet. And then
16 or 17, but
Watchmen. I know Watchmen gets some hate as a movie, but I like the movie Watchmen.
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that like Zack Snyder is like an Ayn Rand objectivist, and like a very right wing reactionary, and Watchmen is made by fucking Alan Moore, which is like this like huge seminal piece of like leftist like. I don't even know, like comic books. But, you know, Alan Moore is very, very leftist in his worldview, and Zack Snyder kind of, I feel like, missed the point on a lot of that, so he thought it was actually cool and good that Rorschach was the way that he was, when it was supposed to be kind of a criticism.
Right. Yeah, Rorschach, I mean, Rorschach's an awesome character, but, like, he is, like, a fascist Nazi.
Yeah.
And, that characterization definitely gets sort of twisted into being sort of like a tragic anti-hero. I think a little more than it's supposed to. I mean, he's supposed to be sad. You're supposed to feel bad for him. But
but a lot of people are like, damn, he's cool, I want to be like him.
Yeah. No, you don't want to be like Rorschach. He's essentially a stormtrooper.
Yeah. And also, just as a note, it appears as though our man Zack Snyder is going back into the zombie genre with a new zombie heist film.
Fuck yeah,
which
dude.
is coming out on Netflix this year, which will also have a prequel and an anime-style TV series to expand the franchise. Zombie Heist.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, dude. I hope that it has Jaden Smith in it.
Well, I'm not sure that it does, but I hope it does too.
Yeah, I hope it does.
Yeah, so now when the MCU began its rollout, it was in defined groupings of films, Phase 1, Phase 2, so on and so forth, and eventually they called the first round the Infinity Saga. There were solid performances from the first two Iron Man films and the Incredible Hulk, despite needing to immediately recast Bruce Banner, whereas the DCEU fell on its face with Green Lantern, requiring that film to immediately be retconned out of the cinematic universe in favor of the entrance of Zack Snyder and Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman.
Right.
Also, interestingly, as recently as 2 years ago, the actor Mark Strong, who played Sinestro or whatever in Green Lantern, he claims Green Lantern is still a DCEU film. This despite him playing a different role in the film Shazam. He says this while acknowledging that Sinestro will likely be recast whenever the new Green Lantern comes out, which he, quote, thinks is going to be rebooted. So I don't really know what he means by any of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see Green Lantern. I didn't see Shazam. I heard Shazam was actually pretty good.
Yeah. Just for reference, we're gonna end this history at like Justice League, and then like switch to the Snyder Cut. I haven't watched any one since then. Doesn't really matter.
Got it.
But so finally, the DCEU is actually launched in 2013 with the horrendous movie Man of Steel, starring Henry Cavill as Kal-El, Superman, and it's directed by Zack Snyder. So now, I haven't rewatched it since, but I actually saw this in theaters in 2013 with a girl I was dating at the time, and we saw it in 3D, and I remember almost nothing except, like, at one point you see an image of Christopher Reeves in Superman's contrail, and also, about halfway through the film, I just had to take the 3D glasses off because it was so, like, brutal, like, what was going on for my eyes. I just had to take them on and deal with, like, the look of it after that. I just could not wear them anymore.
Now, I feel like I saw that movie too, also with my awful ex-girlfriend. Did
we didn't see it.
We didn't see it together.
No, this was separately. I saw it with my ex-girlfriend and one of her friends.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know I saw it, and I also don't remember anything, but I remember hating it. I remember the next one, though.
Yeah, and also, like, it was, like, a shocking amount of collateral damage in that movie. It was, like, 10 or 11 9/11s happening, like, every few minutes. It was just, like, insane amount of destruction.
What was the... So I remember Superman Returns, right, which was with, not with Henry Cavill. It was with that other guy, before, Brandon Routh.
Yeah.
And I remember that the plot of that was, like... It was Kevin Spacey was Lex Luthor, and he wanted to, like, destroy part of Gotham and, like, make a bunch of crystals come out of the ocean and then build new real estate on the crystals. That was sort of the plot.
That was not this.
No, I know, and that's, like, a remarkably dumb idea, and I remember that. Yeah, and so the fact that I can't even remember, like, what was Man of Steel about?
So General Zod, from what I remember, General Zod came to Earth, and he was like, fuck this place, I'm going to terraform it. And, right, Superman is his son, right? I think, right?
No, Superman's dad is Jor-El. General Zod is just another Kryptonian. He's just
so Superman has to fight and kill him while, like, the terraforming process starts in Metropolis. And like I said, it is just, like, insane.
Yeah.
The collateral damage. It is fucking nuts.
So, Superman probably wins, I'm guessing.
Yeah, because General Zod is his corpse, and Batman versus Superman becomes the thing. That, like, mutant thing.
Oh, they turn it into Doomsday?
I don't know what it's called.
It's called Doomsday? And that was really stupid. We'll get to that, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Alright, so apparently one of the early pitches for this Superman, which was not by Snyder, was that it would have been a trilogy released in successive years, which, my God, man, like, I can't even imagine how horrific that would have been. So the final product was a non-linear storyline for some reason, Man of Steel, and it was co-written by Christopher Nolan, so of course it's non-linear.
Mm-hmm.
That guy can't make a linear.
Oh, I'm mad at Christopher Nolan. I saw that movie Tenet. That's another one. That's a steaming pile of dog shit. I don't fucking care.
I mean, like, most of his shit is honestly steaming piles of dog shit.
Yeah, but it's usually, like, got redeemable qualities, right? Like, Inception, everybody was all about that movie. And it's a likable movie.
Cool.
And it's likable largely because the cast is good, right? And it's got Leo, and it kind of, like, if you dig too deep into most of his sort of metaphysical stuff, you're going to find holes to poke. But, I don't know. It was fine. And,
my problem with him, especially with the Dark Knight movies, is... He just has, like, horrendous reactionary right-wing politics. Like, the Dark Knight series is basically just, like, Bush-era expansion of state power propaganda, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's all sorts of suspensions of habeas corpus, illegal extraditions from China, mass surveillance programs, cop worship, and, I mean, just the entire thing is just, like, neocon propaganda.
Yeah, that which also makes me think of... So I was telling you I just watched Iron Man 1. Yeah. And that's like the same thing. Iron Man 1 is
Marvel is 100% State Department propaganda.
And especially that, it was so on the nose. I feel like it's gotten diluted a little bit in terms of like how direct the message is. But Iron Man 1 is literally just like what if the richest man in the world and he made a weapon and he could even kill Bin Laden. Yeah. And like that's just the whole movie.
And it's actually very cool and good to outsource our national defense to for-profit industries.
There's like a brief scene where he's like
that we fund with taxpayer money,
and like his buddy who's like just in the Air Force or whatever calls him and is like, "Hey man, you're not supposed to be there," and he's like, "Ha ha ha, cool, got it." And then like that's the whole way that they address like how fucked up it is that just like one guy is making a decision to go and like fuck up a country in the Middle East. Yeah. And I mean, they obviously make it pretty hard to hate him. Like they turn everything kind of black and white, but it's insane. And that movie is like the quintessential post 9/11 military masturbatory explosion fest.
It's hysterical. Like once you like kind of realize that that's what's going on with those movies, like they're not just stupid movies. It's like fuck, like, this shit's just, like, straight up propaganda.
What if Jeff Bezos used his money to make a robot suit and then and he could even kill Saddam Hussein?
Yeah.
That's the whole fucking movie.
Yeah. But, so, directors were considered for Man of Steel. These included Matt Reeves, who did the American version of Let the Right One In. That one let me in,
Yeah,
which I didn't think was good.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
I know. I love Let the Right One In.
Yeah, it's a great
that one
movie.
Sucked.
It's one of those examples where it's like, we don't need a shot-for-shot English language remake. Just watch the original one with
good
subtitles.
Movie. Yeah, it's like, there's not even that much dialogue in Let the Right One In. You don't have to read
plus,
much.
like, that movie came out in, like, 2005. Like, it's not like it's some old, grainy, low-budget piece of shit. It's a great flick that's totally up-to-date, and just watch it.
Yeah, the American one came out, like, 5 years later.
Yeah, stupid. It's like Old Boy. Like, that's another one. It's like...
Oh, yeah.
Listen,
well, they're going to
man.
do Train to Busan, too.
What was it?
They're going to do Train to Busan, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it still going to be called Train to Busan, or are they going to call it, like, Train to fucking Chicago?
How are they going to call it Train to anything? There's no high-speed rails in America.
I know, that's actually hilarious. Oh my god, they're going to have to call it, like, 500 people driving individually to Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah.
500 people in their SUVs.
Commute to Chicago, dude.
Driving to Chicago.
It's just going to be, it's like, I don't know, man.
As they please, making stops along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
what the fuck? Oh, man, that's just... Okay, I can't even go off on that tangent.
I know.
You're right. How can they even make a train movie? We don't even... Oh, okay.
We don't do trains, man.
We don't even do that.
So Darren Aronofsky was in the conversation at one point. Ben Affleck, too, who would go on to become Batman. He was in at one point in talks to direct.
I love Ben Affleck as Batman. Can I just say that?
Yeah, me too.
I love the idea
really
of, like, what if Batman smoked cigarettes? I'm super into it.
Yeah. What if Batman was a Boston guy?
What if... Dude, Batman... Oh, man. Are we going to talk about Suicide Squad? Like,
yes.
Is that like... Okay.
Yes.
Then I'll just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because I got stuff to say about that
I took
movie.
a lot of sanity damage with that movie. But apparently Guillermo del Toro turned the role down, which honestly is probably a good thing for...
Yeah. He's too cool.
He is the... Also, but he's also the king of, like, starting projects and being like, actually, I'm bored now. Bye.
You know what, though? You know what's a project of his that got rebooted recently? I guess you could call it a superhero movie. I'm a huge fan of the two Del Toro Hellboy movies. I think those are, like, hidden gems. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, the new one was supposed to be terrible.
Yeah, they, like, rebooted it with that dude from Stranger Things, which
he's in everything now. Yeah.
Why couldn't we just still have Ron Perlman? Ron Perlman Hellboy is, like... I've seen... Hellboy 1 and 2, probably more than any other non-Lord of the Rings movies.
I saw at least one of them, and I think maybe two, or both of them, in theaters with my dad when I was a kid. And
exactly.
Both of us liked it. Yeah, they were awesome movies.
They're so good, and I encourage you to revisit them, especially Hellboy 1. Hellboy 1 is a fucking banger. That movie rocks.
Yeah. So, Man of Steel was eventually released to lackluster reviews. Again, it was 2.5 hours long. I don't know why all of these movies are so fucking long.
Oh, it's obnoxious.
Like, it is insane. And like I said, there's like multiple 9/11 level like events happening within the city of Metropolis during it. It's like stunning.
Welcome to Metropolis, a 9/11 a minute.
Yeah.
Is it a bird?
5
Is it a plane?
Yeah.
We're not even gonna... I'll just leave that one where it is.
Yeah. So the studio was encouraged by how well Man of Steel did, and they greenlit the DCEU. So at this point, they were still on the fence.
Right.
So David Goyer, who co-wrote Man of Steel, and Snyder were attached to create a Man of Steel sequel and a Justice League film. However, the former would be scrapped to make room for the latter. And there's also currently some sort of sequel or reboot being developed that may or may not be in the DCEU, and it's being created by shocker writer J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates. And this would feature a black Superman, possibly introducing Val Zod.
Well, Ta-Nehisi Coates is awesome. He's, that could be cool.
Yeah. And it's unclear how this would impact Henry Cavill's future as Superman or what.
Yeah.
But,
well, I can tell you right now that the internet's going to fucking explode if they make Superman black.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
It's going to be the most depressing and obnoxious thing in the world. And I've always taken the stance like I don't really give a fuck. Like there are so many good actors and actresses that if they can sell it, like make.
And I'm
a
sorry,
movie.
most of these characters were written in like the mid 50s,
Yeah.
the 40s, 60s, when they were just all white guys.
It's
Who gives a
boring.
fuck?
Like, one thing that I liked about the Aquaman with what's his name there is that
Jason Momoa?
they made him mixed race, right? Like, his
Yeah.
mom is Nicole Kidman, and then they had his dad was Temuera Morrison, who plays Jango Fett / Boba Fett.
Yeah.
You know, and so he is like, because in real life he's of mixed Polynesian heritage. So
Yeah.
Aquaman, they're like, yeah, you know what? Aquaman's gonna be a brown guy, and like, here's why. Like, and they just
Yeah.
put that in the movie, and like, that's cool. So like, who gives a shit, right? Like,
Yeah, who cares?
Let's have a black Superman.
I love Henry Cavill. How many of him do you need? You know.
Yeah.
But so anyway, that's Man of Steel, and now let's move on to Superman versus Batman: Dawn of Justice. Or
This movie I
Batman
kind of
versus
remember.
Superman.
I saw this movie super stoned with my cousin in theaters.
Nice.
And it's such ass. It's so bad.
I mean, honestly, like, so I never watched the original one. I watched the Ultimate Edition on TV, but I was kind of just doom scrolling on my phone, not really paying attention. So last night, and then I finished it today after work, I watched it again. And I'm going to be honest, I think it's decent. It's one of the better ones, for sure, in this entire series so far. So, and that one's 3 hours long, the Ultimate Edition. They had to tack on more. But I think it's a decent film, at least until the last act. The last act's really bad. The first two I actually think are a pretty good movie. So this one would introduce 2 new superheroes. Fucking second film, dude. Let's add 2 more main characters. And this would be Wonder Woman and Batman. Now, Wonder Woman is played by... Everybody pronounces it Gal Gadot, but she's Israeli, not French. It's Gal Gadot, right?
No, it's
I think it's Gadot.
something like Gal Gadot.
Yeah. Well, the T's pronounced.
Yeah, but it's not pronounced like t. It's pronounced like
like
it's
Gadot.
it's like Gadot.
Yeah. Not like
Something
waiting
like
for Godot.
Yeah.
Which I hear people say all the time, like Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
Regardless, she plays Wonder Woman. And Ben Affleck, as Cam and I have both said, that we actually like Boston guy Batman. He plays Batman. And also briefly, Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa are introduced as the Flash and Aquaman. They had to like add in 2 more like real quick.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing. So, just really quickly as a note, like, I'm totally fine with every single casting decision they've made in these movies.
Oh,
and then
the casting's good.
People are giving Gal a lot of shit, like saying she's a bad actress online and stuff. She's fine. Like, I think Wonder Woman's cool.
She can't get rid of the accent, so they've just made all of the other Amazonians have
well, they're supposed to be.
a similar
They're Greek.
accent.
They're like Greek.
Yeah, but that's not a Greek accent.
No, sure, right.
That's
it's
just
sort
her
of
accent.
it's a Mediterranean something or
Yeah.
other. And like I'm honestly fine with Ben Affleck as Batman. It seems a little
I like
silly,
it.
but whatever. Like I like Ben
it.
Affleck and Jason Momoa rocks. Ezra Miller, who I didn't really know, but
he's
I
fine.
think Flash is like one of the best characters in this dog shit series. So
Yeah.
and he's like not fleshed out at all. And I'm hoping that the
no.
Flash movie is cool because like he's fine. I think they're all fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they kind of show Cyborg too. You really just see a torso, like on a board.
Oh, he was good. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, he's cool. Now, for reference, MCU didn't have a team-up film until 2012's The Avengers, and there was 5 solo films before it. DCEU was like, fuck it, we're going in, dude. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Right, they wanted...
we'll do it live.
They wanted that cash. They wanted that big fat pile of smelly stripper money that they got for just putting out a fucking team-up blockbuster extravaganza right away.
Yeah.
And they're about to learn. Even
will
though
say
the people that eat up the Marvel movies are stupid and they will watch almost anything, they do expect like the bare minimum of world building and plot and character development. That's all.
So I'll also say we'll get into it more with Justice League, so I'm going to be very brief. Even in this film, now it's a totally different like leitmotif.
Yeah.
But they still have a song that plays every fucking time Wonder Woman does anything in this one. It's a totally different one. Totally different song.
Mm-hmm.
But it does happen every time she does anything. Yeah, no, this one's different. But, so yeah, this one was written by Gore, directed by Snyder. And for some reason, I don't know why, Batman hates Superman in this movie. And they just, like, try to kill each other.
Yeah.
Until they realize that both of their mothers are or were named Martha. And then they just become, like, best friends.
Dude, it's... I love... and I don't... I didn't rewatch this movie, but... and I won't, but I remember vaguely that, like, someone's asking him, like, Batman or, like, Bruce, like, why are you so afraid of Superman? He's like, even if there's only a 1% chance that he's a threat, we have to treat that as if that's the only possibility. Like,
we have to make it a 100% chance.
Yeah, he could destroy us all, so we have to treat him like he will destroy us all. And it's like, I don't know, man. Superman has seemed like pretty dope so far.
Dude, that's
and Batman's just like, no.
None of these characters have any motivations for anything.
No.
They're just doing it for the sake of doing it. Like, there's no build up to it.
Even if they had made it something stupid,
at one point,
like
fucking Batman. Like, at one point, Batman. Jeremy Irons, I don't know why he's rolling around in the mud in this film with them, but Jeremy Irons is like, has fighting crime for 20 years not been good enough, and Batman's just like, you kill one criminal, another one pops up. It's like, what the, oh my god, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're just like, oh no, everything I've ever done sucked, now I need to kill Superman.
Dude,
like, what?
And even if they had just, like, explored it being arbitrary, like, that's the thing. They treat it so arbitrarily, but they don't even, like, make that the focus of what they're doing. So even if they had dived into, like, Batman, like, coming a little unhinged and being jealous or being threatened by there being, a legitimate metahuman superhero alien on the scene, that could have been something. But they don't even do that. They don't even make it about, like, Batman feeling threatened or Batman. He's just like, it's freaky that there's an alien here. We got to fucking take him out.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but that's what every bad guy in every alien movie says. Like E.T., they're just like, we can't have this fucking alien fooling around with this kid. Dude, we got to get him. Bring the jangly keys, man. We got to get him. And
so I was talking to Ian about this, who he actually has a podcast that he started a limited run podcast with one of his friends about this entire series.
Wow.
It's called Miscarriage of Justice. You should check it out.
Okay.
But I was talking to him about it, and he said, oh no, Batman, Superman, and Lex Luthor are the exact same characters in this film. They all think that what they're doing is right. Yeah. And the only difference is that two of them are good guys and one's a bad guy just because two of them are good and one's bad.
Right. And they don't even really go into, like, the morality of why they're good or bad.
Yeah.
They totally depend on us just taking Batman / Superman's side because we know who they are.
Because those are the good guys.
And, like, Lex Luthor in these movies is like,
dude,
for all intents and purposes, like, may as well just be the hero. But since you know the name and you know he's Lex Luthor, you kind of just treat him like the bad guy.
Yeah, like, he also wants to kill Superman.
Yeah.
So, like,
but you know what? So do I guess. Like, fuck it.
Yeah. But, like, and also, like...
This whole series is anti-Superman.
And, like, and if we could just talk about Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of fucking Lex Luthor, this is, like, one of the most baffling, like, batshit insane performances I've ever seen. He's just this, like, skinny, weird, like...
long-haired
tweaker who's just, like... fucking going insane the entire time with all these weird hand gestures and, like, high-pitched ramblings. Like, they made him like the fucking Joker, dude.
Well, I think that's honestly what they were trying to do, is to just achieve,
but why?
Like, ever since, the worst thing that ever fucking happened to superhero movies is Heath Ledger playing the fucking Joker. Because all anyone's ever been trying to do, not even just in superhero movies, but in creating villains in general, is, like, to some extent trying to replicate, like, the unhinged chaos
invoke some
monger.
seance of, like, Heath Ledger's spirit.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to, like, some, like, sick
Which is
invocation.
lame, because you know what? Like, that was a cool portrayal. It was great, but you know what? Like, it happened. It's over, and, like, let's try some new approach. You know, my favorite Joker, and I know that this isn't cool to say, but I still fucking like Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
You know, to me, the Joker, I love Heath Ledger. I'm not knocking it. You know, I think you can like both, but I've always liked the Joker being a little more cartoony. You know, truthfully, my favorite Joker is Batman the Animated Series Joker, voiced by Mark Hamill. He's great. Yeah. He's got, like, the little bang pistol. He's bouncing around. He sounds totally unhinged. The laugh is the best. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It was really fucking tough to watch anytime he was on screen.
Yeah. Well, and he's just doing his Jesse Eisenberg thing. It's the same in every movie, where he's just like, you know, actually, so the thing about it is, I've discovered that kryptonite.
Yeah.
You know, we got
I unfortunately had, like, it was just like on TV. I watched like half an hour or an hour of whatever that stupid magician movie he was in. Like,
yeah, I've never seen it
or something. Oh my god!
Catch Me If You Can. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or some no. Now You See Me.
What's Catch Me If You Can?
That's with fucking. Tom Hanks and Leo DiCaprio.
Oh, about the plane con man. He's a con
The checks,
man.
the checks. But yeah, no, this one, and it was like he was like doing the Lex Luthor thing again. Just I don't know. I fucking hate that guy. Sorry, Jesse. I fucking hate him.
I don't know. He's fine. It's just like, you know what? He's just like this isn't even a hot take, but he's just like a less cool Michael Cera.
Oh, it's
like if you want Michael Cera vibes and you can't get him to do your project because it sucks, like
yeah.
But also like by that same token, if they had made Michael Cera Lex Luthor, I feel like somehow that could have been awesome.
So anyway, I hate Jesse Eisenberg.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I like, you know what? The only movie that I really like Jesse Eisenberg in is Zombieland.
Yeah.
I feel like this episode is just you trying to talk about something and then me being like, you know what movie I liked? I really liked Indiana Jones. You ever see that movie? That's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. So anyway, it still almost made $1 billion at the box office.
No fucking way.
It was at around $870 million, although apparently the studio said that they needed to make $800 million in order to recoup the cost.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So after all this, they still only, I guess, like profited whatever. I don't know what kind of weird bullshit.
Steroids are expensive, and Henry Cavill had to eat 15 chicken breasts a day to stay jacked.
Oh, they were probably actively slaughtering cows on set to like keep those guys like fed.
God. Unbelievable.
But, yeah, so the relative failures of really Man of Steel and also this movie led for them to really get involved in Suicide Squad. But before that, what happened was, at this point, Warner Brothers was just, they were putting people in charge, just mixing and matching, whatever executives could be in charge. And of course, at this point, Disney already owned Marvel, and they had created Marvel Studios.
Right.
Or Marvel Studios was already a thing. That's what Disney bought. I don't know. But they had a dedicated team.
I think that, because the first couple were not Disney projects.
No, they were bought after a few of them. I think just before the Avengers or maybe after the Avengers. But they had Marvel Studios making the films. And so Warner Brothers created DC Films, which is supposed to be their version of it. And what they would do is Warner Brothers had a lot of movie series at the time that were really not doing well, and they were sort of baffled. So they created a bunch of different like film divisions that would be solely responsible for those films.
Yeah.
And so in steps fucking Suicide Squad, which I'm going to be completely honest here, I hated this movie. I hated every second of it. I considered it one of the most offensively bad movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I was beside myself for the majority of this film. It was so unbelievably dog shit.
Dude, just I took notes, and the first thing that I wrote is just, this movie sucks.
Dude, it is, like, I was like, dude, okay. They must have spent, like, a fucking $100 million on music alone. It was, like, constant fucking stream of songs.
Yeah.
Including at one point they have fucking Sympathy for the Devil for, like, all of 8 seconds while these assholes are, like, just walking to a car. For no reason. For no reason is the song playing.
Somebody needs to get the aux away from the director here, because
I think this is a Mnuchin thing too, because it seems like his other movies, they're just like pumping those fucking songs out, like, and they're licensing such expensive songs. They had fucking Bohemian Rhapsody.
Well, and that's the thing. It probably would have been cheaper to hire someone to compose an original soundtrack than it was to pay for all the rights to just let some fucking boomer make a mixtape of like 20 of the most like boring surface level classic rock songs, then just like going on Spotify and just being like, Eminem, huh? The kids like him, and like throwing one of those in there.
Yeah,
and, like,
they had Action Bronson at one point too.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. The only thing that I think would have been better is because that's when you first see Will Smith, and I made a note of that. It would have been cooler if he was listening to hit like old like Big Willie style.
Or if it was just like Parents Just Don't Understand.
Yeah. Or like I Think I Could Beat Mike Tyson. That's my favorite Fresh Prince song.
Yeah. But it was just like constant. I was stunned by almost every single choice this film made.
No, this movie is fucking insane.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like cool bad. It wasn't even like so bad it's good. Yeah. It was a vacuum of enjoyment. It completely.
if I remember correctly, Will Smith, who plays Deadshot, he like refused to wear the Deadshot mask for most of the movie. He wanted his face there.
Yeah.
So he only puts it on like 2 times.
Yeah.
There was Jared Leto in it with the. We don't really need to get into his Joker portrayal. Everybody's seen it. It is just really bad.
Yeah. There's really nothing to say about it. It is completely.
It's like if he was trying to do some like version of the main character from Spring Breakers. Like if that was Joker.
Yeah, he's got this like eccentric. I think you can sum it up just by saying that like he's got a grill in the whole time, and he's got the word "damaged" tattooed onto his forehead.
Yeah.
Which is
and
so.
He kills Common too.
He does. So I actually made a note of that. That scene with Common. So they have Common come in, and Common looks like a dude that you would see at a Disturbed concert.
Yeah.
And at first I didn't even realize it was him. And I'm like, wait, is that fucking Common? So it's Common, who's awesome and a talented actor, and like it's really upsetting that he was in it. But so Common comes in, and he's talking to Joker about like something, and then he like looks over, and Harley Quinn is like stripping in the middle of like this bar that they're in. Yeah. And so he's like, man, you're lucky you've got a really beautiful girl. And Joker's like, yeah, the love of my life. And he calls her over. And he goes over to Common, and he's like, she's yours now. You own her. And she like gets on his lap and starts kissing him. And Common's immediately just like, no, I'm not interested. This is your girlfriend. I don't want anything to do with this. And the Joker is like, what do you mean? And then Harley Quinn is like, yeah, what do you mean? And Common's like, nah, just pretty much I said it. Like, it's pretty clear. Like, she's your girlfriend. I'm not trying to. And then the Joker just like kills him. The Joker just shoots him. And I don't know what that's supposed to accomplish. It's like, are you mad that they didn't play into your cuck fetish? Are you mad that he like said you were lucky for having a girlfriend? But it doesn't really accomplish any of the above. It's just sort of like dumb.
Yeah, and you just see it, and you're like, all right.
Well.
And now also...
But you don't even know, like, is it bad to talk about Harley Quinn? He wasn't disrespectful.
None of it makes sense.
None of it makes sense. And the whole movie's like that. It's just words strung together in chronological order with no...
Yeah, it just sucks.
Yeah, the whole movie blows.
There's an actor I really like, too. Adewale Akinnuoye Agbaje.
Yeah.
He plays some strange crocodile asshole who speaks like in the way that, like, if you're watching a 90s family comedy and they would have, like, a slapstick version of a gangster, that's, like, how he talks.
Yeah.
Which includes him doing everything he does in the movie just in order to get 10 years off of his sentence and also BET on his prison television.
Dude, he has one of my favorite lines in the whole movie, which is, like, towards the end when they're all sitting around and they're talking about, like, how we're, like, all fucked up and, like, we're all bad people. And they're like, yeah, like, we're all nice on the outside and ugly on the inside, except for you, Killer Croc. You're ugly on the outside, too. And he goes, nah, not me, shorty. I'm beautiful. And that's, like, one of 3 lines he has in the movie. I just love it. Not me, shorty. Like, I'm beautiful.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Now... This piece of dog shit was written and directed by David Ayer, and he would actually go on to win an Oscar for Best Makeup and Hairstyling.
Dude, I was going to say, this movie has the same number of Oscars as Citizen Kane.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it does.
It has more Oscars.
It
has more Oscars than so many good movies.
Yeah. It made around $750 million at the box office, but it absolutely bombed in reviews like BVS. That came out earlier in the year, Batman vs. Superman. Supposedly Ryan Gosling was originally who WB wanted to cast as the Joker, but he turned it down because he didn't want to do multiple movies. Now, David Ayer was given a tight schedule to get the entire film made up, and had never been tested with such an undertaking, in part due to Batman vs. Superman's somewhat poor performance for the studio. WB got involved in cutting and recutting the film, and also engaging multiple editors in the process. Ayer had never worked on a blockbuster before. And apparently it can be difficult to hire experienced filmmakers for these types of movies because nobody fucking wants to do them. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody wants to do a movie like this.
Yeah, sure.
On this timeline with, like, this kind of, like, studio involvement. He wrote the screenplay in 6 weeks and was like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. And there was a source in the article I was reading, there's a source who stated, once the movie is dated, moving the release is not an option. You've made huge deals around the world with, like, huge branding partners. They've got all this shit ready. They're going to brand the fuck out of the movie, sell all this merchandise. They can't, like, push it back.
Yeah.
So seasoned directors tend to also be expensive, obviously. That's another reason that's a lot of times these very green directors who are brought in for a movie like this. So apparently Warner executives were already, like, freaking out before the movie even started. And once they got saw the response to Batman vs. Superman, they just, like, went postal. And they decided that, like, oh, fuck it, dude, this gritty shit's not working, this dark shit's not working. We're gonna go for a fun, edgy tone. Similar to the Marvel movies, but even edgier.
Yeah.
But fun. And apparently they had gotten a third party to create a teaser trailer that David Ayer was not involved in. And they made a trailer like this. And so, while Ayer continued working on his original vision, that third party was brought in to help create a concurrent cut of the film. Where they're like, all right, we're going to make our own cut. While this dude's still working on his.
Yeah.
And they were pulling in, like, multiple uncredited editors throughout this process, just, like, mixing and matching people, like, seeing if anybody could get anything to come out of this movie. So finally, Ayer finished his dark, gritty version, and the studio had this, like, light version of it, like, this much lighter tone, like, edgy, that kind of stuff, and they just focus grouped the ever-loving fuck out of this. Apparently, like, Ayer had, like, not really a mental break, but kind of, like, freaked out at one point and, like, left and then fired his agents and then one day later rehired his agents. And they were just focus grouping both these movies. And finally, they got to a point where, like, fuck it, let's just mix both versions.
Yeah, I remember when this came out, that was, like, the thing, because they released the trailer and it was, like, bubblegum. And then everyone was like, wait, but isn't this movie supposed to be, like,
dark?
Completely intense? And so, I remember they, like, spliced them together.
Yeah. And they needed to make $750 to $800 million to break even, and they just got to $750.
Oh, dude. I can't even imagine that they made that much, which is unbelievable.
Yeah. Like Batman vs. Superman, they both had, like, insanely good weekends for the first weekend.
Right.
And then immediately just dropped off.
Well, yeah, because, of course, everybody, like, immediately realized, like, oh, these are terrible.
This is dog shit.
And started telling their friends, like, yo, don't see that. It was bad. I have a couple of notes before we move on. So, just some things that I wrote down. I think Will Smith is a terrible bad guy. I like Will Smith, and this is, like, one of the few roles that I've not liked Will Smith in. But I thought it was so funny. There's, like, a scene where he's, like, about to commit, like, an assassination. And he's just got, like, Venmo open. And he's just like, I'm not seeing any money. And the guy's like, I'm not going to give you the money. He's like, well, then I'm not going to kill the guy. And the guy's like, oh, okay, I'll give you the money. And then just immediately, like $1 million shows up. And then Will Smith is like, actually, you're going to need to double it now. And the guy's like, oh, Will Smith. And then he's just like, well,
he's getting away.
Ticking. And so then the $2 million pops up. I thought that was just fucking great. There's a character in this movie who's like just the most hateable guy, and he's supposed to be like the hero, and it's Colonel Rick Flag.
Yeah.
Who is, if you were wondering who Colonel Rick Flag was, he's just like some Navy SEAL who's like in charge of everything despite having no powers. He's not even the best at shooting stuff. Like Will Smith is good at that, so he's just there. Like, and he's a dick the whole time.
Yeah, and he's just speaking with a saucy like Southern accent too.
He's just a piece of shit. There was one scene in the whole movie that I thought was legitimately cool. Only one scene in the whole fucking movie that I was like, wow, that was like kind of beautiful. And it's the first time that you see Enchantress take over the body of whatever, June Moon. And they show her like put her hand on the desk, and then from underneath her hand, Enchantress's fingers come up and like intertwine with hers, flip over, and when they zoom back out, it's Enchantress. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too.
And then the only other things, what did I write down? Oh, I said, this is like Hot Topic distilled into a film, which is true. And so the last point that I'll make, and what's really upsetting about this movie is that they keep introducing new characters with like no backstory right up until like 40 minutes into the film. And I'm not kidding, so they've gone through like backstory for all the major characters, And then, like, right as they're, like, about to go on their mission, like, they've wrangled everyone together, they've explained, like, where everyone comes from, where they're getting everyone from, why everyone's part of the team, what their powers are. They're about to leave, and then a van rolls up, and a dude gets out, and someone goes, "Oh, yeah, and here's Slipknot, the man who can climb anything."
Oh, God,
And then
yeah.
he just punches a lady and is like, "Yeah, she had a big mouth." And everyone's like, "Ha, ha, ha, ha." And then 5 minutes later, he dies. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? There's also a character in this movie called Captain Boomerang,
Yeah.
who's just a guy who has
Australian dude.
boomerangs. And, like, isn't even funny or sassy. He's, like, Australian.
He sucks, dude. He sucks so bad.
And he's just got boomerangs. Also, this is a huge spoiler for this movie, but the final,
There's no there's no fucking spoilers for
You
this.
just shouldn't
Nobody's
see it,
like,
but-
I don't want Suicide Squad spoiled.
Oh,
the only
man.
spoiler is that it's fucking dog shit and don't waste your time.
That's true. Okay, fair enough. So there's like this moment, right, where Harley Quinn, the evil sorceress who's like the bad guy of the movie, is like, "Join me and you can actually rule the world," which, you know, every bad guy says at some point when they're about to get beaten. And so Harley Quinn, you're like, oh my God, is she going to take her up on it? Because she's like, maybe it's the right thing to do to join her. The world is mean to us anyway. And she goes up to her and she's like, "You know, lady, I'm liking what you're selling. There's just one problem." And you can see her like reaching for like a samurai sword. And the
Like, just
woman's
so
like, "Huh?"
obviously, too.
Yeah, and she's like, "There's just one problem. You messed with my friends." And then she like stabs her in the heart. And oh man, it was a really
dude,
good way to end a movie, I think.
When I was watching it, I was like, oh, she's going to immediately be obviously caught going for that samurai sword that she's obviously going for right in front of her. I thought she was going to like step on the sword or something.
Yeah.
No, she just grabs it and then stabs her. It's like, oh, that's actually how it happens.
And the way that they beat this enchantress was so lame because they established pretty early on that she's like all powerful when like as a demonstration of her abilities in the span of like half a second, she vanishes out of existence and reappears in like, you know, the chief army chiefs of staff office with like a pamphlet of plans from Tehran, which she like phased in and out of time and just grabbed in like a second.
Yeah,
and
it was
so
like
then now
okay,
what? Like,
but it was like fucking like nuclear bombs that Iran has.
yeah.
And it was like, of course it's going to be Iran with nuclear bombs.
Of course. But so I just think
They
it's
just gotta
funny.
get
She can
that
do that, but, like,
propaganda in real quick.
The quirky clown lady who has like a gun and a baseball bat can just like fumble around for a sword and just like stab her to death, and then that's just it. You know? It was really, really shitty.
Yeah.
It's a bad
oh,
movie.
Yeah, and also like these like super strong minions that they're fighting that are like fucking up Rick Flag and stuff. And then just like the woman skipping around with a bat is just like beating the fuck out of them. She has no superpowers.
Yeah.
She's literally just skipping around with a baseball bat.
And she's not even supposed to be like a good fighter or anything. She's just got like a mallet and like short shorts.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it. Like, I like Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
And in some alternate universe, she's like the best part of this movie. Like, she has the potential to be. Harley Quinn's
supposedly
a cool
Birds
character.
of Prey is good.
Yeah, there's a sequel that's
Or
supposedly
fine.
pretty
It's
good.
supposed to be fine.
So I don't know. This movie was just so bad. Just so bad. Anyway, sorry. I just had a couple little things since you made me watch it that I really, really wanted to get off my chest.
I made myself watch it too, man. I understand your pain.
Well, yeah.
So after that fucking horrific movie, was Wonder Woman, which I've actually I tried to watch, but I fell asleep after like 20 minutes. But this seems to be one of these only early ones that didn't suffer some sort of fraught production. Mm-hmm. The reviews are excellent. It has over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It would go on to make $800 million at the box office. It would actually beat the MCU in getting out the first female-fronted superhero blockbuster. Mm-hmm. Captain Marvel came out 2 years later, 2019. And it was directed by Patty Jenkins, so I just want to say, I guess, good job for not making a dog shit movie.
The second one was supposed to be good, too.
Oh, no, I heard it was fucking horrific.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. I mean, from what I gathered, it was apparently just like teasing into your brain and draining the fluid in order to replace it with like pure Mad Dog 2020.
Oh, fuck
like,
Orange Jubilee.
Yeah. So, like, I definitely want to watch it, but I've heard nothing but horrific things about that one.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah. Which
I
includes
stand
Pedro
corrected.
Pascal playing a Hispanic version of Donald Trump, apparently.
huh. Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I still have to watch that one, but there's nothing really that funny in the production, so we'll skip right by that and go on to Justice League. All right, bud?
I actually watched this whole movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched the original cut of it,
Me neither.
but I did watch the Zack Snyder cut.
Yes.
So now this was the massive team-up film akin to MCU's The Avengers, and it was finally released in 2017, being directed by Zack Snyder and written by Chris Terrio. Chris also co-wrote Batman vs. Superman. That is, until Joss Whedon would step in to finish the film, including rewriting the script and overseeing reshoots.
Which he had to do because Zack Snyder's daughter died.
Well, I'll actually get into that.
Oh, okay.
So Justice League was finally released in 2017. It was a total bomb. It grossed less than every other previous DCEU film, including Man of Steel, which made about $10 million more. So this big one, the most expensive one, made less than the rest of them. It was panned critically. It fared a bit better than Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad, but it was worse than Man of Steel and Wonder Woman. Now, Joss Whedon was heavily involved in the MCU. He oversaw the first two Avengers films, but apparently he left after the second due to fairly in the public creative battles with the studio. They left on really bad terms, and I guess it was really out in the open. Now, both of those movies were commercial successes, as well as critically, and so both he and Warner Brothers were happy to bring him into the fold. He initially came into the project while Snyder was still working on it, and he began kind of overseeing it along with the studio while Snyder was working on it. But of course, Snyder had that tragic death of his daughter, and he just left it completely. And at this point, Whedon took complete control. And he was like, fuck this, I'm doing my own thing. And so the producer, Charles Roven, said that Whedon had reshot only 15 to 20% of the movie. But rumors persisted that it was actually far more than that. And you can actually sort of confirm it because of the fact that during reshoots, Henry Cavill was filming Mission Impossible 6, in which his character had to have a mustache, and he refused to shave it. So they have to digitally remove his mustache during all of the reshot scenes. And it's definitely more than 20%, and it looks so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta look.
You can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's way more than 20%. And so everybody's like, dude, they, redid the movie completely.
Yeah.
The result is terribly obvious, and, it was just a completely changed story. Also, the studio at this point wanted the movie to be under 2 hours, which... I watched that 4-hour one. I don't even understand how you can make that movie under 2 hours. With all of the set that they have to do, they introduce Aquaman, they introduce The Flash, they introduce Cyborg. They have to do backstories.
Because none of these characters have a previous movie. There's no reason for them to all be together, so they have to cram that. This movie had to be 4 hours long just to justify its own existence.
Yeah, because, if they had done a Cyborg film and an Aquaman film and a Flash film, then it wouldn't need to be that long. But it had to be because they basically had to cram those origin stories, which were each 45 minutes, into this fucking movie. And so they wanted it to be under 2 hours, and Whedon had to stitch together a narrative while cutting well over an hour of Snyder's original footage, as it turned out over 2 hours. This side note that I found was funny, one of the source that I was reading about this was from late 2017. And at this point, it already said that there was speculation that there was a fully done Snyder cut that was way different than this. Already in late 2017, people were like, we're pretty positive that there's a full version of this movie somewhere with just Zack Snyder's stuff.
Yeah.
Now, for instance, in the Whedon version, Willem Dafoe's character Volko and Kiersey Clemens' character Iris West were completely cut. They weren't even there.
So wait, who was Iris West again?
That was the hot dog girl.
The hot dog girl?
The girl that was in the car crash in The Flash.
Oh, yeah.
Stops to grab the hot dog out of the air.
And he puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
That was a cool scene. I thought the hot dog thing was a little weird, but...
Yeah, it was super weird. I'm watching. I was like, is he taking a fucking hot dog in the middle of this? Also, yeah, he was like super creepy to that girl during.
I thought that
like,
every
just like
scene with
putting
the
her
Flash
hair
was
back.
cool though.
Yeah, he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It was a decent character.
The problem is that so they clearly had him in there to be like the comic relief, but there's not like a joke in the movie until like 2 hours in, and by then I was just like, I'm not gonna laugh at fucking anything. Nice try, but like you're not getting a laugh out of me, so let's just keep this shit rolling. Like I'm not. Sorry, the hot dog. I get it. Let's keep it moving. You know.
So apparently Whedon's cut was so lighthearted that the studio was like, "Ooh, this is too much.
Yeah.
This is too much like the Avengers," and so they stepped in and once again smoothed it over and combined Snyder's gritty vision with Whedon's lighthearted vision to just create like this bizarre gradient that really just appealed to no one and left audiences confused. Pretty much like what they did with Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So while Whedon believed he would have total control over the film, he was left constantly being undermined by the Warner Brothers executives. As you know, the movie had to introduce Cyborg without his own film, as well as The Flash, Aquaman, and you have to wonder if all of these issues could have been avoided had Warner Brothers just been willing to take a little bit longer to get to this movie. You know, by just having their own films for these people. And then again, fans after seeing the movie began demanding that Zack Snyder's Justice League be released. And as it happened, he already had it partially ready to go in case they acquiesced. Like, this dude, apparently, he does this with, like, every movie.
Yeah.
He has his own director's cut already made. like done. Like, almost completely done. Like, apparently, Zack Snyder's Justice League was almost completely done by the time the studio was like, all right, fine, you can make it. He was like, I only need to do a couple more things. Yeah. That's why it came out. Like, that's why it came out in a year. Like, So yeah, by November 2017, fans began an online campaign asking for Warner Brothers to release Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League. This included a website dedicated to tracking the campaign being launched, and again, all of this on a hunch that a cut of this film even existed, which, again, you know, wasn't exactly an incorrect notion. He does this all the time. Fans began rallying outside of WB's offices to get the cut released, but the studio continued to deny its existence. By 2019, the fans are crowdfunding billboards and sky banners at Comic-Con in San Diego. And Zack Snyder and Jason Momoa, who plays Aquaman, they also stoked the flames of the fans by promoting the hashtag release the Snyder Cut, with Momoa claiming he had seen it. 2 years to the day after the release of Justice League, Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck, and Ray Fisher being Cyborg, they all took to social media demanding that WB release the Snyder Cut. So at this point, finally, Warner Brothers, they reach out to Snyder and says, would he be willing to do something? And Snyder's like, I got this puppy ready to go, man.
Yeah. Cocked, locked, and ready to rock, boys.
Yes. So finally, I didn't realize it was this recently. In February 2020, Warner Brothers agreed to let Snyder finish his director's cut. And the two parties announced in May of 2020 that the cut would be finished and released on HBO Max and would have a runtime of 4 hours. In July of 2020, actor Ray Fisher, again Cyborg, would accuse Whedon of gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable on-set behavior. Oh, and he claimed that WB execs Jeff Johns and John Berg were enabling of this behavior. These accusations, obviously he's been in the news a lot, they've been echoed with new accusations or accused instances of workplace misconduct and abuse.
What did they say he did?
I really don't know. I know that he's had some accusations recently, but it seems like he's on the out.
Damn.
So throughout 2020,
Joss
Snyder.
Whedon, huh?
Yeah. Apparently he's a real piece of shit.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I like Firefly, and that's all I have to say that is positive about Joss Whedon.
Yeah, exact same. Yeah. So throughout 2020, Snyder mainly just had to complete new visual effects of scenes he had already shot. He didn't really need to do like any reshoots. He did reassemble the cast to shoot a new scene, which is that fucking epilogue one with the Joker.
Dude, oh my god, I don't know.
Was new.
We can talk about that epilogue in a minute, but
after
sitting through that whole movie, realizing that I had to watch just like a bunch of fucking hodgepodge cobbled together.
40 minutes of epilogue.
We couldn't figure out where to put these in the movie, so here you go. This is a bunch of scenes. Martian Manhunter. Like, why couldn't he just be in the fucking movie?
So apparently the total cost of these new effects and the new scene was around $70 million.
Jesus Christ.
And so finally last week, the Snyder Cut was released, and people fucking love it. I personally thought it was total dog
Dude,
shit.
I hated this fucking movie.
I can't even imagine how bad the original cut was. Dude, this fucking thing was 240 minutes long.
Here's the thing.
That's longer than The Irishman! That's longer than The Irishman! And I fucking love The Irishman. I've sat through that movie like 5 times, but that's because it's The fucking Irishman.
Here's the
This
thing.
is Justice League.
Here's the thing. Getting me to sit down for a 4-hour movie is not a thing, really. And
Yeah, I had to do it in
I did
3. I had to do it in 3 sittings.
I did it in 2 sittings. We watched about 2.5 hours, and we watched the last hour and a half. And here's the thing: this movie was actually only just okay.
Yeah.
Part of why I think this movie is so terrible is because if you need 4 hours to give me something that's just okay,
It sucks.
that's upsetting.
Yeah,
Right? If you need 4 hours to convey like a just okay movie, don't make the fucking movie.
Dude, okay. So, like, my biggest gripes were, I mean, the CGI was among the worst CGI I've ever seen. It's, like, as bad as, like, the TV show's Lost CGI.
Yeah,
like,
it's certainly not on par with,
At one point,
Marvel, for example.
they had the fucking, when they're at the Amazon's Island with that stupid building that goes into the water,
Yeah.
they had the field they were on, which is grass and rocks, be CGI. There's fucking free grass and rocks everywhere on Earth.
Yeah.
Everywhere on Earth, you can film that scene.
You want to film grass? I got grass and rocks right here.
And they CGI. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Why is that? And then the part where, like, all of the people are fighting Darkseid in the past, and you have Zeus, who has, like, CGI abs.
And also,
I have seen pictures
Zeus
of the actor. He has abs normally. Why did you give him more abs CGI?
Yeah.
What the like?
One thing. Okay, I did think that the redesign of Steppenwolf was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I liked the like living armor thing. That was kind of neat.
I had no idea that was Kieran Hines until like I don't even know, like an hour and a half into it.
Yeah, I think Kieran Hines was wasted on the role for sure. But he's great. I mean, he's Julius Caesar forever in my mind. But
he's Mance Rayder as well.
Yeah, he was Mance Rayder. Dude, Kristen and I we just saw the end of season 4 together the other day.
Yeah. Oh.
And she's never seen it.
It's the last good
dude, the scene in The Mountain and the Viper.
Yeah.
Oh, jeepers creepers. And I said to her, I was like, just so you know, this was probably shitty of me to say. I was like, this whole show, I know up until this point, this show has been just ramping up. I want you to understand that you are now at the top of the roller coaster. Buckle up.
Yeah.
Because you're about to go all the way back down, baby.
Yeah.
And,
they had already been at the top of the roller coaster, then it went back down. Then it went back up.
Yeah, what, season 3 you don't like?
Well, no. What you mean then how good it was? I just meant in, like, the plot. Like,
No. I meant how good it was.
Yeah, season 3 was good.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Season 4 was, like, the best it is.
Yeah.
And then season 5 is, like, the worst it is.
Yeah, season 6 and 7 are, like, alright. Season 8...
but 5 is, like, psychotically bad. Like, the Dorn storyline...
Yeah,
it's just like, what the fuck? And the Winterfell one, like, the Winterfell storyline in book 5 is, like, the coolest part of the entire series.
Yeah.
And they just made it terrible.
Yeah, I haven't read that far. Game of Thrones sucks. Anyway. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to distract. So, the CGI abs, the CGI all over the movie, it's obnoxious. It's silly. And I'm glad that there's none of the mustache in this. I think they just used original shots of Henry.
Unmustache.
It's overall just a disappointing product, I think. I think waiting... in most of it, I sort of called. Like, I was sitting there, we were starting the movie, and I looked at Kristen, and I was like, how much do you want to bet we don't see Superman for 3 hours? And then one thing that I really hated was they had to, like... So they've got all these superheroes and they've assembled, right? And they're doing all this fighting, whatever. And they're like, how do we show the viewer that Superman is stronger than all the other Justice League guys? Well, how about when he wakes up, if he forgets who he is, so he fights them all?
And just fucks them all up.
Yeah, and so they just have him fight them all at once and, like, win. And it's like, okay, now we can understand that Superman is very strong. because he beat all the other heroes combined. All right. And it's just like, that wouldn't... it's just stupid. There's all these like weird little unnecessary plot moments that exist only to propel a story that shouldn't exist because we're not there yet.
Also, I don't know if you realize this, but there's like a tomb or an epitaph for Superman.
Yeah.
Where on it says, if you seek his monument, look around you.
Yeah.
Which is literally like the Latin Si Monumentum Requiris Circumspica, which is in St. Paul's Cathedral. Like, just in case you didn't realize that Zack Snyder thinks he's a god.
Right.
Like, thinks that Superman's a god. They just like keep having to hammer that home.
Yeah.
Also, I really like that the Martian Manhunter, apparently, so, he is the same actor who plays, like, Secretary of Defense or whatever, and Man of Steel, and then Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was a fan theory that was the entire time the Martian Manhunter, but it wasn't actually in it. And Zack Snyder went, that's pretty cool. I'm going to retcon that. And so he made the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
In Justice League be the guy who was like the Secretary of Defense in the old movies.
So I'm actually really sad that Martian Manhunter wasn't in this movie. And I remember you because you didn't know who Martian Manhunter was, and you were like, "That's a dumb name." And I was like, "Yeah, it is." But he's OG. Like Martian Manhunter.
Oh, you can tell a name like that comes from the 50s or the 40s.
Right. So Martian Manhunter is like an awesome character. John Jones is his name. And I wish he was in it. And I'm sad that Green Lantern wasn't in it. I think a little Ryan Reynolds would have been a welcome addition to this movie. I think Ryan Reynolds should still be Green Lantern. Like, I know he's Deadpool now and whatever. The Hot Topic potential is just too big with that guy. You could have him be Green Lantern, too.
Yeah.
Just like Captain America was also the Human Torch. A lot of people forget that.
Yeah, there was a little Green Lantern at the beginning. Not that same Green Lantern, but there was
a
Green Lantern. But yeah, I mean, Chris Evans played one of those douchebags from Fantastic Four before he was Captain America.
That's what I just said. He was the Human Torch.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Captain America was the Human Torch.
Yep.
Hot take, dude.
Well, I mean, Ben Affleck was also Daredevil.
Yeah, I know. Ben Affleck was Daredevil.
Like, way back when.
I love that movie. I love Colin Farrell as Bullseye. Dude. Oh, I know, it's so bad. But I will always remember that scene where like some guy at a bar is like starting a fight with him, and he like unrolls the paper clips and then like shoots them into the guy's windpipe. That was pretty badass.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
I think at the end of the day, we just need to agree that the greatest comic book movie of all time, the greatest comic book trilogy of all time, is Blade, starring Wesley Snipes.
Oh yeah, and for sure.
And they don't need to keep making them.
I mean, I'm pretty stoked for Mahershala Ali to play Blade.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. He's great. He's so cool.
Yeah.
If they wanted him to be Black Superman, that'd be fine. You know who would actually be, who should be Black Superman is, I forget his name, but Denzel Washington's son, who was in the movie Tenet, which he's like one of the only good parts of that movie because, he's a good actor. Denzel's a good actor. He obviously inherited the chops, but he should be Superman. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm also excited for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to play Black Adam.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
and Pierce Brosnan is going to play, I forget, like Dr. Infinity or whatever. There's some, like, other superhero that he's going to play. Anyway.
Yeah, they're starting to pump out some of these DCEU films.
I think that's cool.
They're supposed to be better after this. After that first Justice League, they're supposed to get better. I haven't seen Aquaman.
It was
Jason Momoa is inherently likable, so I'm sure it's watchable.
Yeah. I think he's fine, and you know what? I saw, like, the first 3/4 of Aquaman, and it wasn't, like, it's not groundbreaking. It's not, like, an amazing movie. But, none of them are. Yeah. Even, like, I mean, everybody talks about the Marvel movies. They're all stupid. Yeah. You know what I mean? People that, like, get their rocks off to Marvel are, like, brain dead. They're dumb movies. I'm sorry. They're dumb They're all dumb. Yeah. And even the ones that are good, like, the fact that Black Panther won a fucking Oscar is outrageous. I mean, the Oscars are
not
trash.
That good of a movie. It's
a good movie.
It's fine.
It's a fun movie. I like Chadwick Boseman. He's the best part of it. Cool. Like, he's a great actor. But yeah, it was just an okay movie. And they're all just okay. The best of them are just okay. And so the fact that you have DC sinking to such lows, right? And all it does is make people look at Marvel and be like, wow, these movies are so good. And it's like, no, man, those movies are pretty stupid.
Yeah.
DC's just making like horrendously bad films.
I mean, but dude, like, even like, it's just like the way people think about these Marvel movies. Like, Martin Scorsese just comes out and he's like, "Oh, that's like not cinema." Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, "I'm so sick of these movies. These aren't good." And people like fucking hate him for saying that. Like, he constantly gets like so much bullshit just for being like, "No, this fucking shit sucks." I make movies that are about guys committing crimes because committing crimes is cool and good.
Yeah.
And it's cool to do crimes and look cool while doing crimes.
I think that the people that think that Marvel movies are like the pinnacle of cinema are the same people that will argue until they're blue in the face that Kanye West is a musical genius just because he like admitted that he was mentally ill and just puts out whatever the fuck he wants. Right? Like that's kind of punk rock. Like Kanye is definitely like I think, you know, indicative of sort of like a new like avant-garde aesthetic when it comes to hip-hop music and whatever, and there's a lot of cool things that he did, but like he's no genius. Most of his music sucks, and Marvel movies are the same way. Like they're fun, they're candy for your ears. Most of them suck.
Yeah, and they're fun when they don't take themselves seriously. That's why everybody loves Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok is great
because it's wicked funny, and Taika Waititi's funny. I like it.
Yeah. I would say of the movies that I've seen in that series, it's by far my favorite. Specifically because Taika Waititi's fingers are in it, and he's brilliant. Ghost. Yeah, he's made some of my favorite movies of all time, and I think we need more of that because you know what? They're comic book movies. You know,
popcorn cinema. There's nothing wrong with that. I like popcorn cinema.
Of course,
I love popcorn cinema. I have no problem watching bad movies. For the sake of watching them because I like movies.
I'm super stoked. For example, there's a couple movies coming out. I'm super stoked for. I'm super stoked for King Kong vs. Godzilla.
Dude, I'm so pumped for that.
And that might be our next movie episode because I know you and I are both excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm also super excited for the Mortal Kombat movie. And there's no way that's going to be like good, but it looks great.
I mean, I think when we watch Kong vs. Godzilla, we should do it like share screen so that we can like hang out while we watch it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, just so you know, I always like to watch movies naked. That's a new thing with me.
Okay, well, you can turn your camera off, so.
No can do, bud.
Okay. Well,
I'm just saying, if you want to really experience it with me, I'm going to need you to open your mind a little bit and be willing to see all of my nuances and my subtle curves.
That's enough, man.
All of the contours of my body.
All right. Well, anyway, so that's our take on the DCEU.
Yeah, it's bad, and you should feel bad if you like it. That's my take.
Just don't watch Suicide Squad.
Superhero movies suck, but I am going to watch all of the Marvel movies, and I'm sure I'll have some.
Oh yeah, I'll keep watching that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to talk about. Well, all right. Well, that was great, and thank you guys for entertaining our departure from our usual tomfoolery. We'll be back next week with
more Tiberius.
The conclusion of the story of Tiberius, which you should listen to if you haven't, because it was pretty fun and we liked it, and this was fun.
Good. Yeah,
he's pretty good, man. All right, cool. Well, yeah. I guess I will add that you can follow us on Twitter. We'll have the names and the ats and the whatevers up in the description. And yeah, thanks for listening.
We're also both on Letterboxd if you want to hear us.
Oh yeah,
read us write more about stupid shit.
That's actually
maybe
true.
We'll throw that in the line notes.
Yeah, I guess we should probably throw that in there too because I've been getting into that.
Yeah, I love Letterboxd.
You got me into Letterboxd. I think that's like the coolest social media right now.
Me too. I agree. Just because, like, a lot of times I forget which movies I've watched.
Yeah.
Or, like, what I thought about them. So I like logging that and then, like, keeping your watch list and all that.
Well, that's the thing. I wish that I had... I don't think I've logged Suicide Squad yet, actually, because I just watched that last night and then I just, like, fell asleep. Sad.
Oh, I
literally had weird dreams.
I rage logged it afterwards. Like, I was like, I need to... Oh, my God.
So bad.
Yeah.
So bad. All right, man. Is that it for you?
That's it for me, man.
All right. Well... As always, thanks for listening to Left Unread, and we will catch you guys next week.
Peace.